And what we have heard from my colleagues, transmission, and professor, who talked about risk analysis, which ought to have been a major area of assessment. I would say my own addition to the whole discussion is the transmission that I know for over 25 years is not the transmission that we have today. And before, there is, from planning point of view, there is coordination within, first of all, the transmission section that enables each department to be able to review its areas of operation and then make its observations on critical areas of needs to be put on the table. Each department does that assessment, puts that assessment on the table, and then management's attention overall is drawn to those critical areas of need that would adversely affect the smooth operation of transmission company operations. And with such report, management will now also, on its part, assess the situation, analyze the risk, and then make a budgetary provision for replacement of equipment that have been identified that are due for replacement. Are those kind of things, those exercises, are they taking place at the moment? If those exercises are taking place at the moment, I'm sure issues of old, obsolete, weak transmission equipment ought to have been addressed by now. Now, part of what needs to be done that is critical to maintaining smooth operations of the transmission section is to make sure that those critical areas are identified. Why is it that those issues of weak and obsolete transmission equipment are major issues of concern? Now, in terms of coordination between the distribution and the generation, I know there is a stakeholders meeting, and that takes place just the way from the transmission end that each department makes an assessment of its areas of weaknesses that requires urgent management attention. These three sectors of the power value chain, the transmission, the distribution, and the generation, from the old company that I know, they always have that meeting. They bring up issues that when those issues are not addressed, it will have its negative consequence on the overall performance of either transmission, where it is transmission, distribution, where it is transmission, or generation, where it is generation. Now, the good part of it is generation has been partially concessioned, and then distribution has been partially privatized. Now, the only company that is yet to be either concession or privatized is the transmission company. Therefore, I think what is key is that the planning aspect that ought to be a major concern is not being put in its proper perspective. And then also, from the management point of view, management is supposed to be proactive. Now, if management is not proactive, you won't expect anything good to come out of transmission company of Nigeria. I know that every year there is what you call technical audit. That technical audit is supposed to be principally for equipment, for transmission equipment. And that technical audit will normally give you the actual details, the true status of those transmission equipment. Is that annual exercise that is key to maintaining smooth, effective transmission services? Is it still existing? Do we really have engineers that carry out this technical audit of this equipment to determine the true status of those equipment? If that is not being done, then to say that there is no reason the equipment are old, they are aged, they are rickety, I think that's a blame game. That's a blame game. So my position is from the point of view of what ought to be done is not being done. That's from the point of view of the workforce. And then on the part of management, the critical reviews that is required to take management decision, critical management decision to avert system collapse and grid disturbance is not in place. And unless at this particular point, I speak with pain in my heart that in this country where we have seasoned engineers, brilliant engineers, committed engineers who work night and day to provide effective dynamic transmission services all over the country, is becoming a difficult task to achieve. Well, we need to sit up.